Hi, I'm Danny with etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the etrailer trailer hitch on our 2016 Ford Escape. Adding a hitch to your Ford Escape is going to allow you to put accessories back here. If you're going on a long trip, maybe you don't have a lot of room in there, so you can put a cargo carrier on the back and put your luggage back here. Or you could have a bike rack, or you could even do some light duty towing. This hitch looks pretty good on the Ford Escape. As you can see, it's got that matte black, so it does match that OEM bumper. And the cross tubes are completely hidden, so it is pretty low profile as well. This hitch does have a 2" by 2" hitch receiver opening. It'll fit your standard accessory. I'll just put a ball mount in here real quick and secure it with a 5/8" pin and clip. Now, usually these will come with your accessory when you get one. It won't come with the hitch, but I would recommend getting a locking pin just so you have that extra sense of security. Nobody can come and take this out of your hitch. Now, if you are planning on towing, it does have safety chain loops on the bottom, and they can easily accept an S-hook or a clevis style safety chain. The total towing capacity of this hitch is going to be 3,500 pounds, and that is going to be the trailer plus what's packed inside of it. Now, the total tongue weight is going to be 350 pounds. That's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch receiver. And that's a good number to know if you're planning on having cargo carriers or bike racks back here, and that lets you know how much you can pack those up. Now, this is compatible with weight distribution systems, and that will bump those numbers up to 5,000 pounds total towing and 500 pounds total tongue weight. Now, do keep in mind to check your owner's manual and make sure you're towing at your lowest rated component. Now I'll get you a couple measurements. So from the ground to the top of the inside of the hitch receiver, it's going to be about 13.5. So that's a good measurement to know. If you're going up a steep incline with a long accessory, you want to make sure that doesn't hit the ground. Now the next measurement is going to be from the center of the hitch pin hole to the outside of the bumper. That's about 6 inches. So that's good to know if you have a folding accessory like a bike rack and you want to make sure when that's folded up, it doesn't hit your bumper. Now there are a couple of different hitch options for your Ford Escape. And if you have any questions about which hitch is going to be best for you and your vehicle, please feel free to reach out to us here at etrailer. We'd love to help you out. Now, as far as the install goes, it is pretty straightforward. You are having to trim some of the heat shield and fish some wires. But it's not too bad. But if you don't have the time or tools to do it yourself, you can check out our dealer locator. We can find a professional in your area to get this done for you. But if you're looking to tackle it yourself, follow along and I'll walk you through the process. First off, we want to remove some rubber isolators, and they're actually in this bracket. So I got a 13mm socket. Remove these bolts, and that'll lower our bracket down. And I'll just do that on the other side as well. Now we need to trim part of the heat shield that's touching the frame. Now I just measured back from this hole here about 1 inch. And I just drew a line, and then I'm going to cut along that line there. Now you can use an oscillating tool. I'm just going to use some shears here. I'm just going to bend this down and get this trimmed out. Now on the passenger side, we'll do the same thing, but I'm just going to cut the entire piece off so it's not in our way. Now we're going to have to grind out that oblong hole a little bit because our hardware needs to fit. So I just grind just until this is able to fit through. And I just got a die grinder bit here, and I'll just get this widened out. Now we need to open up this oblong hole a little bit because we just need our hardware to fit through. So I'm just going to use a burr bit and get this grinded out just enough for this to fit. And now I'll grab some spray paint and I'll just spray that bare metal where I ground down the metal so it prevents rust in the future. Now we need to get all of our carriage bolts ran through the holes in our frame, and it's going to be the big oblong one is where we're going to be fishing all of our hardware up into, and then we're going to have one of our hardware go through that hole and the hole closest to the bumper on the side. So I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to take our coiled end of the fish wire. I'm going to get this poked through our larger hole. I'll take our spacer block, I'll get that put through the coiled end, and then I'll thread our bolt through that coiled end. I'll get everything pushed up into the frame. That's why we widened out that hole, so we can get the head of the bolt through. Pull this through until it comes out, and now I'll just push it back because that'll prevent us from getting the hitch in place, so I'll just leave it there. Now the next fish wire, I'll stick the coiled end up through the smaller oblong hole into the bigger one, and I'll do the same process. Just put our spacer block, thread our bolt in, and get this pulled through. Now this last one's a little different. We'll put the spacer block on first, followed by the bolt, and this is just going to be a reverse fish wire technique. Now we'll just feed the bolt up through our large hole, followed by that spacer block, and I'll pull it down. Now something to keep in mind is you don't want those spacer blocks to cover your threaded holes where your exhaust bracket will sit. Now we can lift the hitch into place. I got Jesse over there giving me a hand. And we just want to get this up over the exhaust first. Now you want to feed your fish wires through the corresponding holes, one in the side, and then you're going to want to feed your rearmost fish wire through that hole closest to the bumper. Skip one, and this one's going to go in the next one. Once you've done that, you can lift it up and pull that side bolt through, and that'll hold the weight of the hitch for you. And now we can just pull all these fish wires off and get our hardware on. So I'll just take a flange nut and get this tightened on. And these might want to push back into the hole, so I'm just going to hold one side to get this to tighten on. Put our exhaust hanger bracket back up with hardware that comes in the kit, and you just want to take your smaller bolt, get a flat washer, and you may need to adjust the hitch just so your holes line up. I'm just going to scoop mine just a bit and get these threaded in, those existing threaded holes on the frame. Once you got everything hand tight, I'll go back through and tighten everything down. I got an 18mm socket, and I'm going to tighten down the carriage bolts first. And once those are tight, I'll get a 13mm socket and I'll tighten up the bolts that are securing the exhaust hanger. Now we can torque everything down to the specs and instructions. Now if you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can usually rent one from your local auto parts store, or you can buy one from us at etrailer. Now once you've torqued everything down, you're good to go. You can start using your etrailer hitch on your 2016 Ford Escape.